I am Professor Sri Krishna Mahajan, Professor and Head, Department of Commerce and Management, Shivaji University, Kolhapur. Today, I am going to deliver lecture on the topic Designing Questionnaire and Testing. Hello, friends. This topic is very important as far as research is concerned, and the questionnaire we take into consideration with the different perspectives. As I have a question first, why do we collect the data? Actually, we want to analyze the data. That's why we collect the data. Why we want to analyze the data? Because we want to find out something new. As research is expected for this particular important objective. As we can say, is it a way of finding systematic? Are the findings relevant? Then question comes whether it is systematic and relevant, and if it is so, then we can say it is scientific research. If data are relevant and if it is collected systematically, then it will be relevant and systematic, and we can say that is scientific research, and we can say this will achieve the objective. There may be some mismatch. What is that mismatch? Students always say or ask, who are not properly guided, they ask, Sir, how to analyze the data? They say, we cannot test the hypothesis. What is to be done? In such cases, we find that their objectives are different and they are collected differently. Why it is so? Because there is mismatch between what they have collected the data and what they want to analyze the data. It means when instrument was prepared, it was not well thought and carefully screened. That's why I think there may be such a mismatch. There is always interlinkage for research, right from title, research problem, objectives, hypothesis, methodology, findings, and suggestion. If you maintain this linkage, then I think you will be successful in your research. And in between this research process, two important things are there. One is a review of literature, and another is the data collection. What one of them we are going to see today. How do you prepare questionnaire? I am not taking here a question how to prepare the question, how to prepare questionnaire. I have taken here how do you prepare questionnaire. It means the researcher, general or budding researchers, new researcher, fresh students, how they prepare the questionnaire. The common experience is that they see similar thesis or similar type of project available, submitted already by someone, take their questionnaire, change some questions, and use that question. Actually, what will happen after this? There will be mismatch between your objectives and what you have collected the data, what you want to analyze the data. So, if we want to avoid this type of mismatch, you should see towards questionnaire carefully, and the process of uh, constructing questionnaire or process of designing questionnaire is important in this perspective. Exactly what it is, what is the questionnaire? We can say questionnaire is a set of questions, but when if it is set of questions, is it a question paper? No, but it is set of question paper. Then it is a set of question paper to be used to collect the data. It is the set of question paper to be used to collect the data to achieve the objective of research. And that's why we can see the process of constructing questionnaire. There are some 9 steps I have considered here. First, data need determination. Second, preparation of dummy tables. Third, determination of respondents level. Next, data gathering method decision. Next, instrument drafting, evaluation of draft instrument, pre-testing, specification of procedures, and designing the format. First of them is data need determination. When we want to identify the need of the data, we should know exactly what is our research problem and its objectives, means objectives of our research. Accordingly, we have to prepare the questionnaire. We have to design the questionnaire. Actually, what is the requirement of data? How we can know which data we require? For that purpose, I think we have to make a matrix. I always tell researchers or my research students to make one data need matrix or data need determination matrix. We will see it on the next slide. But before that, we can see a linkage between objectives of hypothesis, data required, and questions. So if we maintain this linkage, then definitely when you ask the questions, you will get data you require, and accordingly you can test hypothesis and achieve the objectives for your own research. If no adequate research literature is available on your topic, you can go for exploratory pilot study, and it is required for identifying exact what data you want to collect and how you will analyze. This is the data need determination matrix. First column is for research objectives. Second column is for investigative questions. Third column is for hypothesis. Fourth column is for variables or parameters or your operational definitions. And on the basis of these 4 columns, fifth column will arise, in which you will identify which question should be asked to the respondent to know about variables. The variables will be nothing but you will collect the data from the questions, and that data you can use for testing hypothesis, and when you will test the hypothesis, you will achieve the research objectives. Then second step of designing the questionnaire is preparing dummy tables. What exactly it is? Firstly, visualize tables to be presented after data analysis. Which type of tables you want to present for data analysis? For that purpose, develop dummy tables. Now, which type of dummy tables they are, that depends upon the relationship between the variables that you want to test. And it may be univariate analysis, it may be bivariate analysis, it may be multivariate analysis, and accordingly the tables are to be required. And according to that, you have to prepare dummy tables, and according to that you can ask the questions. Then you can properly prepare the tables for your presentation. Then third step is a determination of respondents level. Now the question is here, who are respondents? Who are they? Are they experts? Are they familiar with your research problem, or are they laymen? What is the level of knowledge, their level of knowledge? According to their level of knowledge, you have to decide the choice of words and concepts dependent on their level. Now, here it is very important to know what is the level of knowledge and accordingly how to formulate the question. For example, if your respondents are experts, they know the particular research problem and all phenomena. In that case, you can use technical language directly in a questionnaire. There will be no problem. But if you are going to use the questionnaire for laymen, then the questions will be in a very simple and lucid manner, which the concepts what you are using, you should not use the technical language in your questionnaire. In simple language you can ask the questions and you can prepare such type of questions for them. It means the who are respondents on that your choice of words concepts is dependent, and even the questions how you have to ask. Then data collecting method decision. What method you are going to adopt? For example, whether you are going to take interview or you are going to mailing the questionnaire. Even whether you are mailing this questionnaire by email or by post or by any other mode. That means the mode of communication is important point for the preparation of questionnaire. Choice of question structure depends upon the mode of communication. That's why accordingly the mode of communication you can choose the question structure, which type of question you will put in the questionnaire. Then fifth step is instrument drafting. Here, one thing we have to take into account that there will be many questions, the questions should be grouped. They should be classified in a proper manner. Now, we can take one example here. How the broad categories of consumer behavior can be taken in one questionnaire. And these may be the headings for each of the group. For example, you can see identification data regarding the respondent. Then brand awareness, brand choice, purchase decision, brand loyalty, post-purchase behavior, and personal information. If such type of classification or groups are made, then it will be useful for the respondent as well as the researcher. Then we have to make evaluation or examination of draft instrument before using it. Then how to make evaluation of such draft instrument? See, first an important thing is that what is your research objective? What you have asked the question, whether that is relevant to your research objectives, whether they are covering your investigative questions. Then you have to see whether the type of question is appropriate. Even the clarity of question and ambiguity of question should be examined, because if the respondent does not know or he cannot understand, then we cannot fulfill our objective of questionnaire. We cannot properly collect the data. So question should be clear and there should not be any ambiguity that we have to see in a questionnaire. Practicability of question. That question, whether the question is required there or not, that we have to see. According on the basis of our own research problem, we have to see whether this question is required there or not. Then validity of question, whether we are asking the valid question, that we have to verify there. Even logical and psychological order of questions is very important, because the responses depends upon this logical and psychological order of question. If this order is not maintained, there may be some difficulties in getting the data properly. Even the respondents will hesitate to answer such questions which have no logical order or psychological order. Then clarity and content. We have to see whether the questions are clear and they will cover what content we require, what data we require from that particular questionnaire. Then one more thing is to be considered, that is a length of instrument. But length of instrument is not more important than the objective, because here most important thing is that objective of the research, whether the questionnaire is relevant to the research objectives, that is very important. And then length of instrument, if we consider this question, some budding researchers are always ask, sir, how many questions should be there in questionnaire? Here this question is irrelevant. It is relevant to the research objective. What your objective require, those questions are there, or that much requirement of data is there. Accordingly, you have to ask the question. After evaluation of this particular draft instrument, that is revised for further process. Then seventh step is pre-testing. This we will see in detail afterwards, but just the definition, what is pre-testing? It is trial administration of the instrument to a simple respondent before finalizing it. It means it is used, means instrument is used, but it is for trial. It is only a trial made. Pre-testing means. Then eighth step is specification of procedure. Now, procedure for use of instrument. Which procedure you are going to use? For example, whether you are going to use interview technique, or where you are going to mail the particular questionnaire. Accordingly, it depends upon what type of procedure you are going to do. That should be specified there. Then question in standardized manner you should put in the questionnaire. What actually this standardized manner? For example, respondent A gives answer to the question with one perception, and the respondent B is also giving answer to the same question but with his own different perception. It means your question is not in a standardized manner, because for a same question they are taking separate meaning or separate perception towards that question. So here we have to look after that the question should be in standardized manner, that should have same meaning for all the people. Then definitions of concepts and variables should be given, and they should be clear to all stakeholders. For example, the respondent should be clear. Basically researcher should be clear with concepts and variables. Then respondent, and if enumerators are appointed for collection of data, they should be properly trained with this concepts and variables, then they can properly collect. It means all stakeholders of research project should know about concepts and variable. They should be clear about it. Then you have to deal with various interview situations when you prepare the questionnaire. For example, whether we are collecting data from the students in the classroom is one situation. Another situation, when we are collecting data in the cafeteria. For example, after a class is over, you are collecting data in the classroom. There will be a burden and their psychological situation is a different one. But you are inviting the students in the cafeteria, you are offering tea to them or some snacks, and you are getting the responses from them. They are free to give the responses. Frankly, they will fill the forms and the responses. It means these two situations, the responses will be different one. So we have to understand what will be the situation in which you are going to collect the data. For according to that, you have to prepare the questionnaire. Then instruments, when we prepare, and if it is to be carried out for mail survey, then there should be proper instructions at the top of the form. In top of the instrument, you have to give the instructions to the particular respondent, because when mail survey method is used, you will not be there. If interview method is used, you can give them oral instructions, suggestions, or you can influence and you can simplify the question for convenience of the respondent. But in case of mail survey method, it is not possible. So instructions should be given at the top of the questionnaire. Then there should be one good covering letter. That letter should motivate the respondent to response promptly, response immediately to your questionnaire. Because in most of the researches, we have experienced that the response rate is very low, and if good work covering letter is given, that can motivate them to give the response and we can get the data from them. One more thing, that questionnaire should be attractive and clear. As far as format of questionnaire is concerned, that should be taken into consideration, and the same thing we will see in the next step. It is a ninth step, which is designing the format of questionnaire. This format should be as per the need. Now there is no specific, you can say, the form, fixed form. According to your need, research need, you can get that format, you can prepare that format. You can divide your all questions in different sections relating to different aspects. Then the such sections will have headings in bold letters with which anybody can identify the section, and they can understand that this questionnaire have been divided into different parts, and accordingly it will be convenient to the readers to understand the matter. Then more space should be given to open response question, with which they can give their opinion or whatever the comment they want to make on that particular question. sufficient or adequate space is required, so more space you can give. Then arrangement for yes or no consequences. This is one of the important aspect of the questionnaire. When there is a yes no question, in that case, suppose the response or answer is yes, then if question yes is the answer, then if yes, what I can take one example here for yes no consequences. For example, our question is whether you have opened bank account. Then he will give the answer yes. If answer is yes, our consequential question will be there, in which bank? Or you can ask what type of account you have opened. Now this is about yes. If anybody has given no, and what will be the consequence for no? For example, the same question if we repeat here, if you have no bank account, to that respondent we will ask a question, why you have not opened bank account. Here we can understand what are the reasons why they are not opening the bank account, where the bank branch is far away from him, whether it is not affordable to him to waive one day wages. That may be number of causes we can find out by such question. Then we can come to the steps of designing questionnaire that can be taken into account in three parts or three steps. First step, question ascertainment stage. As I told you, you can see here question ascertainment stage. Here, which question is to be asked? It is a big problem, big question for us research as a researcher. Here, that matrix will be useful, which we have prepared earlier. According to that matrix, the last column will tell us the questions, which questions we have to ask according to our research objectives, our research questions and investigative questions or hypothesis. It means we will be in proper scope of our research. So this is a very important stage of or step of designing questionnaire, which will keep us in proper scope of our research. Then second step is question type selection stage. Which type of question you have to ask? For example, whether open-ended question or close-ended question. If the alternative answers, alternative options are not available with us, then we can use open-ended questions. Generally, when a particular phenomena is not well explored by the researchers, you can use the open-ended question. Even in case of qualitative data you require, you can use open-ended question. Mostly you can use open-ended question. Then come to the close-ended questions. Close-ended questions have also other types. Here, close-ended question means you are not giving freedom to the respondents to give the answer, but you are providing answers and they have to select that answer. Here you can see dichotomous question is close-ended question. Dichotomous question means where only two options are available, that is called dichotomous question. There is another type of close-ended question, what is called multiple choice question, or popularly it is called MCQ. Now you see here there may be multiple alternatives, multiple answers available you have made to the respondent. There may be 4, 5 or more than that options will be there, and the respondent has to select one of them. Here one more thing, one more type of question I want to introduce you, that is multiple response question. Here you have given multiple choice, multiple options, but he will take multiple choice. Here he will respond multiple answers, not a single answer. In MCQ, the respondent select single answer. In multiple response question, he will select more than one option. And in that case, even presentation of data will be different. Another thing here, according to your objective of the question, you have to select the type of question. And according to that, you can select the question type. Then designing stage, that we have seen just now in earlier slide, how to design the stage, and again we will discuss about it later. Then which type of information we collect from the questionnaire, that is very important. We do not think about it, but we have to think about it. Now you see what type of information we collect. Three types of information we collect by the questionnaire. One is factual information, another is psychological information, and third is behavioral information. I will give you one example. Suppose research problem is related to the financial literacy. Then how the questionnaire related to financial literacy will provide us such type of three type of information. I will tell you there are three dimensions of financial literacy. Those are financial knowledge, financial attitude, and financial behavior. Now we would like to collect the data regarding financial literacy, and information we will classify into these three categories: factual information, psychological information, and behavioral information. Now factual information is financial knowledge for that particular research problem of financial literacy, financial knowledge. Now here opinion is not important. For factual information you can use question paper, simple, what type of question paper we use in the examination, similar type of question paper you can use here for factual information. For example, we want to know his literacy, means his knowledge, financial knowledge. So you can decide the financial knowledge score, that scale you can say, and that will be factual information, means what exact knowledge that respondent has. Then second type of information is psychological information. For our research problem of financial literacy, we can consider here the financial attitude of that particular respondent. Now what financial attitude, how I look towards number of financial services and financial products, and what is my attitude towards those financial products, financial market and services, that type of questions will provide us the psychological information. Then third type of information is behavioral information. In the research problem of financial literacy, we can take here the financial behavior of the respondent. So we have to ask the questions about respondent's financial behavior. For example, whether he has opened bank account, whether he has opened demat account, whether he is using internet banking, whether he is purchasing financial products, whether he has taken insurance. Likewise, means his behavior we can understand by that particular information. So this information, what information we require, can be divided into three parts. Sometime in any particular research, the all type of informations are required. In some questions, few are required. So we have to decide which type of information we require. Then formulating questions is important part or stage of that particular designing the questionnaire. See, question should be relevant and content of question should serve the purpose of the data collection, because we are going to design this questionnaire for the purpose of data collection, and that data will be used for achieving our research objectives, for analyzing data to find out according to the objectives. So the question should be relevant to our research objective. Then the question wording is again a very important point in formulating question, because some etiquettes are there. For example, loading questions should not be used in questionnaire. That loading question put your bias before the question particular respondent. So you have to use word in such a manner that statement or question should put your unbiased proportion or proposition or unbiased question with which he can answer. He will be free to answer with his own opinion, with own perception and own understanding. But question should be in such a manner, the word should be properly used, that what you want to communicate should be communicated to the respondent. Otherwise, that will be a difficulty. Then response form. This response form of a question is another important issue in formulating question or designing questionnaire. What response form here we have to consider? As we discuss the dichotomous question that have two forms, two answers, options. Multiple choice question have multiple answers and they have to select one of them. Here, there may be some open-ended questions. If you are going to for exploratory research or you want to collect qualitative data, the response form of open-ended question will be useful. But another thing is that according to your respondents, if you are taking a scale developed on, for example, Likert scale is used. What is assumption of Likert scale? That literate people can understand is assumption, and that should be used for them. In case of illiterate people, low educated people using Likert scale is, I think, not useful, because response form in you can take very satisfied or strongly agreed to strongly disagreed, that 1 to 5 scale is given. In that case, it is very difficult to low educated or illiterate people to select the option, and invariably they will select the particular option, and that will be not useful for the research. That will be, you can say, the bad responses collected. So in that case, dichotomous questions like yes no will be useful for such type of respondents when sample is of that type. But if your sample is well educated or professionals or corporate employees, then you can use even Likert scale or any type of other scale for the purpose. Means response form, you have to decide which type of response form will be there. Then another important issue is there for formulating question or questionnaire, that is question order or sequence. When you will maintain question order, that shows your knowledge regarding the research problem. This is one thing. Another thing, it will be convenient to respond your questions properly to the respondent. So the question order or sequence you have to properly maintain, then it will be useful for proper collection of data. Then in this particular process of designing the questionnaire, scales of measurement should be known. You know, nominal scale, ordinal scale, interval scale, and ratio scale. These are 4 scales. Nominal scale means it is of 2 or more named categories which the objects are classified. For example, male, female, defective or non-defective. It is the nominal scale. If it is numbered or numbers are used for it, then those are allotted purely arbitrary manner. For example, 1 male, 2 female, or 0 male, 1 female. There is no any particular use of that measurement of 1 or 0 as a number. So it is arbitrary number. You can understand this matter. Or there is no sequence or order 1, 2, 3, 4 or ABC. You can interchange that order or particular sequence in case of nominal scale. In ordinal scale of measurements gives number to groups of objects using some quantifiable characteristics. For example, group of individuals according to income. We can take poor people, middle class people, and rich people. These are 3 groups. So here you can say in ordinal scale, numbers given to groups are just labels, serve the purpose of ranks. Here the number having a particular order, it should be maintained. It is not interchangeable here. So that is ordinal scale. I am giving in short this matter. Then third is interval scale. This scale of measurement has equal units of measurement. However, 0 in this scale is arbitrary 0. What it means, now you can see here there is a clock for temperature. In centigrade, when we are saying 10 and 20, 10 to 20, what is the distance is the same between 20 to 30 or 30 to 40, whatever it may be. it means the distance between 2 points is same, equal, but 0 is arbitrary. For example, 0 in general we say true 0. When we say 0 is nothing, means there is no anything. When we are saying the score is 0, for example 0 students means no students. But here in interval scale, 0 has also meaning, for it has also existence. A 0 means something is there. For example, 0 centigrade. Here we can understand, if we take water and take the temperature of water for 10 centigrade, we can see 20 or 30 hot. At 0 or more, less than that, it will be cold. That it will maybe converted into ice. So there will be existence. For 0 also there will be existence. Then ratio scale. What ratio scale measurement has equal units measurement, and those are taken from true 0. Means here there will be sequence, they will be having equal distance between them, and 0 will be also true 0. For example, if we take here the height or weight, there if we take 0, then if we see here the 0, then weight will not be 0 or height will not be 0. Then this is the table given for primary scales of measurement, and on this basis we can understand which statistical tool is to be used. Why I am introducing these scales of measurement here? Because if you understand these scales of measurement, nominal, ordinal, interval and ratio scale, then in which scale you are going to ask the questions, for which scale you are going to ask the question, which type of scale, which type of question you have to formulate, and which type of statistical tool you can use for that purpose, that you can decide. So there should be a knowledge of scales of measurement before preparation of questionnaire, because we have to test again the questionnaire. Then pre-testing of measurement scale is divided into three parts or three tests, you can say. Test of validity, test of reliability, and test of practicability. Now firstly we will see validity. Now what is validity? Validity is most critical criteria and indicates the degree to which an instrument measures what is supposed to measure, or validity is a measure which is free from errors and biases. Curtin said validity is an estimate of the correlation between test score and the true criteria scores. Kerlinger has given statistical presentation of validity. He have given how to measure the validity. He said it is the ratio of common factor variance and total variance. Actually, there are number of types of validity, but due to time constraint, we cannot explain all. You can see all these types of validities in standard books and you can understand them. There are some types of validity. One is content validity, face validity, construct validity. that can be divided into two: convergent validity and discriminant validity. Then next is criterion related validity. Again, it can be divided into two: predictive validity and concurrent validity. And last is relevant validity. To know just content validity, we will cover here. It is representativeness or sampling adequacy of content. This content validity tell us whether the scale has sufficient content to measure. What we want to measure by that particular scale, whether we are collecting or measuring that particular things. Here one example we can take from our business studies. We want to measure the effectiveness of advertisement on consumer. There can be effect such as, means effect of advertisement may be in the form of brand recall, new purchase, repurchase, increased brand loyalty, increase in products, attribute, perception, etc. There can also be effects yet unknown, because we may not know what are other effects, as this is a wide perspective of a business. In business environment, number of factors are there, so we cannot know that particular other effects. We construct scale to measure the advertising effectiveness considering set of effects. For example, repurchase intention, brand recall, and level of sales in the scale. Then we can come to the reliability. Reliability, what exactly the reliability is? Reliability means the consistency of measurement. For example, when a scale is used by one person is giving the same measurement when another person is using that scale. So what one respondent and another respondent is giving response, the similar measurement is there. Response may be different, but measurement is the same. So that consistency, whether it is maintained, is seen by reliability. Then methods of determining reliability. There are three main methods of determining reliability. First, test retest reliability. Second, equivalent form reliability. And third, internal consistency reliability. Now you can see what is the difference between them. Because of time, I cannot explain all these things, but I will touch upon Cronbach alpha, which is used popularly for internal consistency reliability. Cronbach alpha is nothing but a technique we can use for the reliability, and here the score, if it is more than 0.60, you can say your scale of measurement is reliable. Here there are some other techniques for the purpose of reliability, testing reliability. The split half technique, Spearman-Brown formula, Gutman split half reliability, the Kudar-Richardson formula. This can be used for testing of reliability of particular instrument or scale of measurement. Then third is practicability. Now here we have to see whether that instrument we can use. Is it possible to use the particular instrument? That we can see here with the test of practicability. Whether it is possible to administer the particular instrument, that instrument ought to be practical. It should be economical, convenient, and interpretable. The instrument or questionnaire should be economical, convenient, and interpretable. Now, what means economical? Within a constraint of budget of your research project, you should prepare and use that instrument. Then you can say, if the budget cost, if cost is increasing due to your instrument, then you have to consider this matter. Then whether your instrument is easy to administer, then you can say it is convenient. Means your instrument, your questionnaire is convenient. If the consideration of designer or researcher, the same consideration is perceived or understood by the user, then we can say the particular instrument is interpretable. For example, when that instrument is read by anybody else, that the same concept or variable what we want to communicate should be communicated to the reader. Reader can understand the same meaning of the concept what we have written there in the particular questionnaire. Then we can say this instrument or questionnaire is interpretable. Then we can see what is pre-testing. Actually, we have seen, but in detail, we can see here pre-testing. Actually, by making pilot study, we can make pre-testing. And Goudet and Hatt have given science of the weaknesses of your instrument, weaknesses of your questionnaire. How you will identify weaknesses of your questionnaire? For that purpose, they have said there will be some sign in your questionnaire. You have to identify that. For example, after conducting pilot study, suppose you find that lack of order in answer is there. Why it is there? Because of poor conceptualization. The concepts what you have put there in the instrument or questionnaire is not clear to the respondents. Because of that, there is not proper order of answers in particular questionnaire. Then all or non responses. What it means? In some MCQs, there is one alternative, all of the above, or there will be another alternative somewhere, none of the above, and that becomes a stereotyped response for the respondents, and they select it. So this is again a point of to be taken care when particular questionnaire is pre-tested. Then high proportion of don't know or don't understand answers. Means many people have given answers to your questionnaire. For many questions, the answer is don't know. There will be big question because you are not collecting data by that answer. Only they are saying we don't know, we do not understand. It means in that particular answer you are not collecting the data properly. So why such type of answers will be there? The questions are not properly written, questions are not properly formulated, or another cause may be there, the bad sample you have selected. That's why you have to consider here the question should be properly drafted, formulated. Irrelevant comments may be there. This is again a sign of weakness of instrument. Suppose you have given open-ended question and irrelevant comments such may be there in your pilot study. You can understand that there is inadequate list of alternative answers with you. That's why open-ended question was given. And then you can understand some the respondents have given proper answers and you are getting alternative answers. With that, you can put MCQ there and formulate answer and avoid irrelevant comments on it. Then high proportion of refusal to answer. Why it is so? If the the question is outside the context or poor transition from one research problem to another research problem lead to refusal to the answer, because if you are changing the dimension or the research problem within the questionnaire, the people or respondents will refuse to answer, and that will be difficult for us to collect the data. Then inconsistencies in answers, that is again important uh, sign of weakness of questionnaire. We can identify, we can rectify it with or correct it. Then problem of space, you have given a limited space but respondents want to write more or they want to say more, then you have to provide more space to them after pilot study. Then after pilot study, when you will understand these weaknesses are there in the questionnaire or instrument, then you can correct the question on the basis of these points. You can delete some questions. You irrelevant comments are coming from which question, you can delete it. Then you can add some questions, because through pilot study you can understand that some part of your objective is not fulfilling, so you have to add the question. Even you can understand regarding any particular variable you are not getting the data, so you can add the question. Then you can change the question wording and sequences. That is again important point of pre-testing. When after pilot study, you can understand which question is wrongly written, which question is like a loaded question. Then you can rewrite that question uh, with proper words. Proper etiquettes are to be maintained in the writing question. And again, the sequence should be properly maintained in the questions. Then there are some preconditions of questionnaires that can be considered for preparation or designing questionnaire and pre-testing. You see, clarity about research problem. Researcher should have clarity about research problem. He should clear about all various aspects of research problem, and with that you have to understand whether the questions in instrument or questionnaire are covering the scope of research problem and all or various aspects of research problem. Then you have to use carefully the close-ended questions and open-ended questions. In this case, you can see where you want to know more about it, you use close-ended questions, or when you know the answers, for example, from review of literature or from earlier studies, you know the alternative answers, then you can go for open-ended question. But regarding any particular point you do not know anything, what may be the alternative answer, or the changed situation may give the different answer. So in that case, the open-ended question may be there. Then question should be simple. That question, the respondent should understand clearly the question. Then one more important thing is that logical part, well thought out
tabulation plan. What it means, what will be our future plan of tabulation? If it is in mind, we should have that plan. And accordingly, logically, you have to ask the question. Then you can get the data what you want to put in the tabulation for the purpose of tabulation plan. Then units of enumeration that should be precisely thought out. It should be accurately given and considered with full information. See, I can give the example. If we are asking the question about income, the business people in informal sector, they will not provide you such information, and or they are reluctant to provide the information. In that case, you can ask a question regarding their cost of the business. You can ask the question regarding revenue of the business, and you will find out what is his income. But another thing is that age and uh, birth date, this is very important unit of enumeration. We find some respondents, they do not remember their birth date, but we want age. So in case of old age people, they do not remember the particular date of birth, or illiterate people, they do not remember the date of birth. But literate people, they can tell this. In that case, you can take both the questions, age as well as date of birth. That will help you to give the proper information for all the respondents. As age, unit of age is years, so in years you can get the information for all the respondents. Likewise, for each and every question you have to discuss about and think about unit of enumeration. Then prepare rough draft of questionnaire and evaluate it. It is very important because firstly you draft the questionnaire, then evaluate on the basis of those points which we have already discussed. Then appropriate sequence of questions should be maintained. That will be helpful and convenient to the respondent, and the proper response will be given to you by them. Then technical defects must be removed from the particular instrument or questionnaire. Pilot study for pre-testing and questionnaire is again important, because after pilot study you can edit the questionnaire in the light of pilot study, as we have seen what are the signs of weaknesses of that particular questionnaire. How we will understand? If we conduct the pilot study, then we can understand these are the weaknesses, and we can remove those weaknesses from our questionnaire. For that purpose, the editing will be required, and editing is possible only when the particular pilot study we conduct. Then simple but straightforward direction should be there for asking question. Question should be simple, but direction of a question should be there straightforward, because sometimes we read the question, whether we do not find whether it is paragraph or a question. The particular respondent do not understand what the researcher want to ask, what he want to ask. That cannot be understood. So we can see here that clarity, and it should be simple. There should not be no difficulty in answering questions, and it should be simple to understand for the respondent. Then questionnaire will be successful. You can collect the data properly and analyze the data. So I think we have covered this designing of questionnaire and the pre-testing of that questionnaire in this particular session. So we can see here one important aspect, that here we have seen the particular thing. Here we can understand the questionnaire designing and particular pre-testing which we have seen here, and I think it will be useful to all of you. We have covered here many things. Actually, the measurement scales is an important aspect of it, but it will require more time. So I could not fully cover that matter. Even testing reliability or testing validity will require more time. That will require another session. So I think we have seen number of things we have discussed in the particular session, and at the end I would like to thank uh, Professor Halasgi, organizer and of this particular faculty development program. I am also thankful to authorities of Rani Channamma University for giving me the opportunity of to deliver this particular session here. Thank you, one and all.